we share one common background experience in that we have both had cancer and we're both cancer survivors.
Yep.
And I guess my first question is, did your experience with cancer change your life, and what did it have to do with your writing?
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say it didn't necessarily change my life, except from a physical standpoint. Obviously, there are things that you can't do after cancer surgery that you could do before. And I've had essentially fatty tumors in my leg that have been removed several times. So I have this very attractive scar that goes up my thigh that I don't want to wear shorts for that reason, but no, I'm teasing you. But the reality is I can't exercise as much as I did and so on. But the actual experience of cancer itself, I don't know that influenced anything about writing, but obviously it did from a physical standpoint. So I can't do as much as I used to be able to do, and that I guess that means I have more time to sit down and write, so I don't have to worry about getting out and moving around, right?
The uh, the reason I asked,
Hmm.
um, but I want to I'll get to that in just a second.
Hmm.
Um, the cancer I had, they thought was a fatty tumor in my left
Hmm.
leg, in my
Yep.
thigh, turned out to be vascular sarcoma,
Ooh.
and it's a blood cancer of the capillaries themselves, and the capillaries become malignant.
Ooh.
So they took about a third of my left thigh out.
Hmm.
That's been probably 27, 28 years ago, but they had
Yep.
no idea how to treat it. So they were guessing. They did that and a lot of
Yeah.
radiation.
Yeah. Right.
And I woke up, I was building companies at the time. I was running 5 companies,
Hmm.
um, real too thin on management. I was doing it all and
Yep.
ended up taking a huge financial bath. And at the end of that, um, my kids were still in college. My dog still loved me. I was still single and corresponding with just a stunning Russian blonde.
Mm.
Um, and I thought, why in the hell am I working my butt off 16, 18 hours a day, thinking that somehow I want to be rich? And that's when I really turned to writing. So it fundamentally changed my
Yeah.
life.
Well, if you want to be poor, writing is the job for you.
It works. It works.
It's like a magic. Yeah. No, it's interesting. I think it's obviously a call to action when the doctor uses the C word for you that hey, it's a wake up, and it's yeah, it definitely was for me the thing that it wasn't the liposarcoma that bothered me so much, is even though that they have chopped into my leg too many times to count, but I had prostate cancer as well, which is always
Oh,
kind of one of the big scary ones, right? And yeah, so after having had gone through that experience, you know, it's weird. It didn't impact me until later, when the doctor says, "Hey, you've got prostate cancer." Well, guess what? I was kind of like, "Oh, okay, no big deal. I've heard of it. People survive that, right?" So I wasn't too terrified, but later as you start saying it, the word, I've had cancer. It's like that's actually pretty darn serious, Well, maybe I should pay attention to doing things a little differently.
um, boy, do I understand and the thing that's so extraordinary. I don't know that I was ever terribly afraid of the cancer, but
Hmm.
oh, what a colossal inconvenience! And it really did shake up my life.
Yes.
Well,
Yes. Yes,
yes,
I would use that word inconvenience. I like that. That definitely
yeah,
was not part of my business plan going forward.
no. Well, Jay, tell me a little bit. I I absolutely found Cottonmouth one of the most fascinating books I've read in a long time. Um,
Thank you.
and when I first read it, I did not know that Scott Bell even existed. So I read through it and was trying to figure out where a lot of the technique came.
Hmm.
Um, I have never read a book before that really is 3 gigantic action sequences somehow tied together with enough about the characters and the setting to make it all work. Where did that come from?
Where did the concept come from, or where
Yeah,
did the writing technique come from?
well, both. Where did the concept and then the writing technique?
Yeah, well, let me tackle the second one first, and the technique, obviously, I think every writer has to harken back to the days when they were nothing but a reader, right? So I spent many of my formative years, many years as teens and young 20s, just devouring pulp fiction, right? What I call pulp fiction. You know, some of the hard-boiled classics, the science fiction, all the things that intrigued a young man, right? And so a lot of that informs my writing today because I use some of those same ideas and thoughts and patterns of behavior, I guess, if you will, to inform what I do. And I think part of the technique is developed, right? You start out by throwing stuff on a page, and then you get feedback, and people, you send it out to people, and they criticize your baby, and you're like, oh my God, no. But you develop that technique through learning, right? I mean, you learn
Mhm.
all the time, and hopefully you learn to the point that you know what works for you personally and what
Mhm.
doesn't work for you personally, and you mature. So I think Cottonmouth is a maturation of all the writing that I've done before, from the standpoint of having started out with. The first one I published under my other name, Scott Bell, was Jaeger's Law. I think it's a great book. I enjoyed it. I think people have been reviewing it well. But it doesn't have the same level of maturity, I think, that Cottonmouth does, just because it was one of the first ones. So, having answered that, the other thing is where did the concept come from? Well, you know this, Roger, as a writer, you have a what if machine working in the back of your head, right? And this what if machine keeps putting together different concepts. What if this happened, and then what would happen then? And so, we know that there are agents and foreign operatives who are double agents who have worked for our government, and we have settled them within this country somewhere. We know that happens. The CIA has a mandate to be allowed to settle up to 100 people per year by a congressional act. So they have an office for it, the National Resource Operations Center, something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it's called this moment. But so I started thinking, where do they put them? Where do they go in the communities? Are they my neighbors? And that sort of started to work. What if they were all settled in one little town? What if we put them all in one place? What would happen then? What would that look like? And then of course the what if machine starts working. So what if something happened that would endanger that community, right? What would that look like? So all those things started to perk in my little what if machine, and it popped out with this concept of. And of course, I'm from Texas, so this town had to be set somewhere in Texas. And that was just part of the deal. I think the fact that it's a small town in a rural part of the state is important to the concept of the story, just because that's for makes the setting sort of work. It becomes part of the entire narrative where the thing is set. So anyway, hopefully that covered the things you were asking about.